Welcome to our celebration of International Women's Day, a day that's dedicated to us. At Kohler Bold Art, we took it a step further and decided to give 6 super talented women professionals a chance to make a call to action for accelerating gender equity and parity in true Pecha Kucha style. 2023 is the 11th year that Kohler has been hosting Pecha Kucha Nights, and we have a legacy of living on the edge, combining futuristic thinking and rigorous craftsmanship to bring innovative, beautiful design wear to life. And undoubtedly, design is embedded in our DNA. We have a 150-year legacy. Tonight, we celebrate design and host a dialogue between you and our divas. The theme for 2023's International Women's Day campaign is #EmbraceEquity. Each of our featured speakers has 6 minutes and 40 seconds to tell their story, and they do it in one flow with no stops. 20 slides, each for 20 seconds. So let's start the ball rolling. And I'd like to invite Laura Kohler, Senior Vice President, Chief Sustainability and DEI Officer, someone who oversees the company's worldwide integration of environmental sustainability and social impact efforts. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Laura Kohler.
It was March 2020, just before COVID outbreak. I made the journey to India, as I always do this time of year, joining my Kohler teammates to survey the site where we had just completed water purification and dispensing installations. The day progressed as usual. Just then, I saw a woman making her way to collect clean water. I watched her gather the water and place a heavy container on her head and made her way down the path toward me. It was then that I noticed something different. She was completely blind. Her name is Dada Maya. Dada Maya helped me understand the inequities in our world and to do even more for change and impact. Today, this work is my why, the passion that drives me as Kohler's Chief Sustainability and DE&I Officer. Equality means we provide the same resource to all people. In this case, each member of this community here had equal access to safe water. Equity goes much deeper than that. Embracing equity is not a poster, tagline, or a marketing slogan. It is real work. We make change when we see it, own it, solve it, and do it. See it. Anil Sachdev taught me the importance of mindfulness and meaningful connections into the world around me. He taught me that you never go into someone else's shoes unless you first get out of your own. Only then will you see it. Own it. As leaders, we have to show up to embrace the work and pull people in. And as the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Solve it. We are celebrating Kohler's 150th anniversary around the world with a powerful theme, Come All Creators. So that means we must activate our creativity to design new and better ways to care for and value people. And finally, do it. This beautiful, strong woman is my mother, Linda Kohler Anderson. She often said, to whom much is given, much is expected. These words have inspired my life's journey and the action I take to make meaningful change. And it is my great honor to be here with all of you today on this International Women's Week here in India, and to be alongside this amazing group of panelists for Pecha Kucha.
Thank you, Laura, for kickstarting our Women's Day and doing this in Pecha Kucha format. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have from Bengaluru, architect Asha Kushalappa, director at DWP Interix Design Consultants, Please welcome Asha Kushalappa giving her views on #EmbraceEquity.
Live and let live is an easy phrase, but tough to implement. We're part of a diverse ecosystem which works together to support life. This leads us to the topic of equitable spaces, which is contradicted by none here today, and yet acceptance seems far-fetched. I, being a part of the ethno-linguistic community of Coog, dwelled in an environment of flora, fauna, land of generals, and accomplished women, the First Lady IFS officer, to name a few. Coog was my stepping ground for the development of my mind step and thought process. I took my first flight through a journey of thought, translation, and acceptance. My observations and the inherent behavior of taking everyone together subconsciously pushed me to bring changes in norms and take a turn towards inclusivity. How on earth can fish coordinate their activity? In human societies, having a choreographer coordinating complex collective behaviors is common. The universe provides several lessons in equity. All we need to do is pause, watch, and learn. Ants in a colony, operating as a collective, do remarkable things. What stops us humans from doing the same? Why can't we be intentionally collective by accepting perspectives, preferences, and choices around us, making it an intentionally equitable world? Here's a quote. It is revolutionary for any trans person to choose to be seen and visible in a world that tells us we should not exist. A truly equitable space would be where we support an individual's journey because they know best what's right for them and all they seek is acceptance. The goal is equality with equity, but to achieve equality, we might have to focus on the group that is excluded and be comfortable with that. Organizations and institutions can play a big role in creating an equitable space and making it easier for employees to bring their authentic selves to work. Let's believe in abilities and not disabilities. Let's empower lives by support. Let's strive to facilitate financial independence. Let's increase accessibility and mobility. Let's look at equity in a practical sense, much like the Mitti Cafe in Bengaluru. Let's pave the road to an equitable tomorrow by asking certain imperative questions. Am I diverse? Am I inclusive? Am I raising the bar? Am I making my share of effort towards creating equitable spaces? These answers will define our tomorrow.
Coming up next is Rupana Reddy, the co-founder and managing partner at NA Architects. So here's Rupana to tell us more about our theme.
Equity for me is seeing an individual without any bias. I prefer an equitable world that accommodates inequalities, variations, and even imbalances as pure originality. People get confused with equality and equity. We think people of all races and sexualities should be equal, and that is equality. I fully support this. However, this is not what we are discussing today. As a creative professional, I am expected to dress in a certain manner. I was a casual dresser and I was misjudged by many. It took few years for people to realize that my talent is more important than what I wear. I embraced equity by being completely authentic. I had to be my own true color rather than being a shade of it. Someone who is genuine, truthful, and transparent. I push my limits every day. When I do Iyengar or aerial yoga, I see other people trying beyond their best. I get positively inspired by their energy, commitment, and their journeys. Last but not the least, to emphasize on equity, both my children are different. My daughter is very creative and my son is very technical. So she is going to join us after her studies and my son is going to pursue technology and business. My daughter, who is pursuing architecture, will become a lead partner of our firm. It is funny that I am asked, why is your son not pursuing architecture? Well, we still need to look at the bigger picture, the one that truly embraces equity.
Well, I love embracing equity as it relates to design and really giving people what they need to be successful. So many people have all this opportunity if we can only use our capability in design and manufacturing to really meet people where they are. And there's a saying that you really can't understand people until you get out of your shoes and get into their shoes.
This event is not just a testament to the success and vision of women-led architect firms, but it also celebrates their success. Kohler as an organization believes in equity and inclusion, and I think this kind of an event will ignite and inspire a lot more conversations around this topic.
We now have Shami Goregaoker, principal at GA Design. So it's over to Shami Goregaoker to explain what she thinks about #EmbraceEquity.
There is no other place as diverse as this planet, and no other evolved species as diverse as the human race. Let me tell you that in my profession as an interior designer, I have dealt with various clients. They are affluent, widely traveled, and have specific yet varied asks. I have received a variety of briefs from my clients: conventional, unconventional, relatable, some maybe not so much. However, the only constant has been high standards of delivery. Here's how I'm embracing equity: by accepting perspectives, respecting others' beliefs and challenges, and doing all this without judging. Let me tell you how I do it. I received a project brief by a couple to create a rollout bed to be used for the period days by the lady. She had to stay in isolation and follow some restrictions. Now I can see many raised eyebrows in the audience. As today's woman, this was not resonating with me personally. I'm a visualizer. However, this I was unable to visualize. I experienced a complete lack of understanding and conviction. But then I thought, what could I or what should I possibly do? Was I being judgmental about their choices? Perhaps yes. But then again, are you a professional if you are judging a requirement? Are you being equitable if you're not embracing others' perspectives and choices? Equity is respecting the need of each individual. This can be best understood by the person who is in that situation. Equity is letting people be, and I thought it is just about an extra bed. I must let them be who they are. Here's another perspective. I had a client who could have nothing round in his house, particularly a round mirror. It was his belief that if he looked into a round mirror, he would keep going around in circles without reaching his destination. The solution was in simplification. It didn't matter if I absolutely loved round mirrors. It was his house, his money. And thank God for Kohler. You guys have wash basins in different shapes and a variety of mirrors too. That definitely helped. Well, after listening to all this, some may judge me as a woman and as a designer, and I'm okay. However, my question is, are they embracing equity by judging me? It all comes down to embracing people for who they are. Embracing equity is embracing perspectives. Thank you.
Moving on, our next speaker is Vaishali Sharma, co-founder of FD Design. Vaishali believes in living architecture, hence designs her buildings in the fourth dimension. So put your hands together to welcome Vaishali Sharma.
As a child, I grew up with two brothers in an Indian family. I can relate to this subject in hand. Yes, the opportunities were not equal. However, my family bridged the gap. Here I am in front of you as a successful architect. My father served the CPWT. There were not many female architects or engineers around him in his workplace. Still, he visualized me as one. He was protective and equitable at the same time. So, how do we spread equity? As they say, identifying the problem is half the problem solved. Equity is not a far-fetched concept. However, if carefully observed, it can be noticed all around us. We have our MC's voice playing in the Delhi metro. The metro train has created an equitable space for all income groups, providing affordable, comfortable travel in air-conditioned coaches, which was unimaginable for quite a few. We, as architects, are instrumental in creation of environment around us. We not only have the opportunity and creative power, but also the responsibility of creating equitable spaces around us. In order to establish equity, we, with our exposure to different facets of the industry, can create opportunities for the birth of new entrepreneurs around us. Opportunities need support to grow. We need to take part in bringing equity to its full bloom. It's not one person, one government, or one country, or a one-day job. Equity is a progressive responsibility of the whole society. Let's move from pointing fingers and start holding hands. Let us simplify things, accept more, listen more, and help people grow. How about we just spread sheer joy? Let each one cherish their own space in the universe. Thank you.
Our last speaker, our final speaker, Vasundara Sampath. She's the founder and principal designer from Philosophy Design Studio. So let me, without any more delay, invite Vasundara to share her views on #EmbraceEquity.
Growing up, my parents encouraged me to follow my dreams. They gave me the courage to not only imagine, but also create a life beyond the shackles of gender, circumstances, or stereotypes. My survival mechanism was design. I was learning from tough times and tough people. I was now looking at the big picture, one that was creative, that was global, inclusive, equitable, and of course, positive indeed. Now, staying equity-focused wasn't easy. The world was changing, and I had to make a conscious effort to develop a progressive mindset along with balancing work and children. Thankfully, the bonus was portions of peace and stability. Equality is giving everyone a shoe. Equity is giving everyone a shoe that fits. And hence came my equity strategy in action, where every home, every client was different with varied needs and varied lifestyles. Embracing equity made me more people-oriented and global in perspective. This meant working against my bio clock, my time zone, and my off days. I was now embracing geographic boundaries too. Yes, I worked on Sundays, midnight hours, and 3 a.m. I chose to go the equity way within my organization as well. There was a clear ask for me to understand the needs of a culturally diverse team. We wholeheartedly created an inclusive culture in our space, and this gesture was lovingly reciprocated by my team. There is a life back home which impacts the life at work. Equity is understanding the runway from where my aircrafts take off. It is crucial to be empathetic and respectful towards my team, which entails accommodating time off for health, parent-teacher meets, and other commitments. Life is fair. It truly is. Good things boomerang too. Whilst I was extending equity to my inner circle, I was fortunate to have been rewarded with the same, in fact, in abundance. My friends and well-wishers have walked hand in hand with me on my equity journey. Equity is also about accepting your own failures with grace. We all make mistakes, and let's be real, will continue to do so. The biggest lesson that this path of equity taught me was to keep my head high, own up to my mistakes, learn from them, and move on. It taught me to accept others and also my own self. It brought about inner peace and sanity. As Albert Camus rightly said, in the midst of winter, I finally learned that within me is an invincible summer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all of you for attending. Thank you to our fabulous speakers for making really interesting and meaningful presentations. Women have the power. Share that power and take it forward. Thank you.
The whole concept of Pecha Kucha is very interesting. 20 slides, 20 seconds, and it's brief, and you've been able to convey your story very briefly to the audience without them sort of getting bored or, and it's visual based. So you have interesting slides, and you're speaking in connection with the slide that you are showing in, say, 30, 35 words. I think it's very interesting.
The day I heard about the Pecha Kucha, it sounded a lot of fun, a quirky concept actually for most of us architects who actually tend to speak a lot, present a lot, bring in a lot of ideas on the slides. And this was so limited, and we had to be within that boundary of whatever was to be presented.
Telling a story very briefly, I totally love this whole concept. If you can tell your whole story in few lines, I think this is an art, and this is what I learned here.
I think, somewhere we should treat a person as a person than seeing them as a gender basis.
All of us embrace equity in one way or the other in our daily lives, and it actually got me thinking as to how equity has played such an important and large role in my life.